Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hooty Hoo KSU football podcast. I'm your host, Griffin Nichols. Pleasure to be here. Hope this finds you doing well. Unfortunately, our victory cast streak ended at 6. We do not get 7 in a row, or 8 in a row. Actually, we did not get 8 in a row. We got 7 in a row, which is pretty darn good. So let's get into it. The Owls fall to Jax State 35-26. So two aspects here. One is going to be the disappointment that was that game last night, because it was disappointing. It was a disappointing performance in a team that just didn't seem mentally ready to be in that spotlight. On the flip side, there is still positivity to be had, and I'll talk about that as we kind of get into this a little bit. So let's look at this game, go through the drives, go through the stats, and figure out what went wrong. Because a lot did go wrong, unfortunately. And that's when I say that they weren't ready to play. It's like, you noticed, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm so sorry. We just did some yard work. The disappointing part of this game is that you started noticing it the last 2 weeks, one to become bowl eligible, and then last week on the road at New Mexico State was they just seem like they're pressing a lot, like they're forcing things. And one thing I brought up last week is that what great teams do is they execute, and blowouts happen because you execute at a higher level than your opponent. What you don't do is you don't press, you don't force the issue. The nerves definitely worked against them yesterday. And just some poor decision-making worked against them yesterday, which I'll get into in a second. But all hope is not lost. There is other aspects to this, a bigger picture perspective. And like I said, I'll get to that after I go through the stats and everything. So first things first, Kennesaw State scores on their first possession, which is new instead of going 3 and out. They score on their first possession, a touchdown, great drive. Jax State answers with their first possession, scores a touchdown. Okay, get to possession 2. We miss a field goal. Drive the ball down, miss a field goal. I'm so tired of missing field goals and extra points. It's just enough already. I mean, we've got to make field goals. We got to make field goals. You're taking points off the board. So I wanted you to remember that 3 points. Okay. We miss the field goal. Jax State gets the ball. We get the ball back. Jax State has to punt the ball. We drive down to the 4-yard line. And we throw an interception, something that cannot happen. You cannot have that happen there because, again, you're taking points off the board. So we throw a pick on the 4-yard line. Jax State gets the ball. They punt. Great. All right. We were able to stop the bleeding. That's terrific. We go down on our next drive. We get down to 1st and goal, at which point we have 2 back-to-back false start penalties on the offense, which pushes the ball back some. Then we are unable to move the ball, and we get a field goal. Again, you had the opportunity for a touchdown because of mental errors. You have to settle for a field goal. That's 2 drives in a row where mental errors are taking points off of the board. Ensuing kickoff, Jax State drives down the field, scores a touchdown. So right now you're looking at 14-10. Jax State kicks off. This is before halftime. And, of course, our drives before halftime are a disaster, and they continue to be a disaster. So we drive the ball down the field. We're at the 23-yard line, and sure enough, we throw an interception. So that's 3 drives in the first half where points are coming off the board. Now, with the missed field goal, with the interception, the 4-yard line, with this interception, the 23-yard line, pretend we had a consistent field goal kicker. That's 9 points right there. 9 points. At least 9 points. If that drive when you're at the 4 becomes a touchdown instead of throwing a pick, I mean, that's more, right? If you're on the 23-yard line and you drive down and score a touchdown, that's more than just 3 points. So at a minimum, in the first half, we're leaving 9 points on the board. Now, this is where it becomes inexcusable. Is that Jax State has the ball around midfield. They bring a backup quarterback in who has a bigger arm to just throw the Hail Mary. Just the Hail Mary. What do? We run into each other. Instead of knocking the ball down, we kind of pop it up in the air for some reason. Jax State receiver is there to collect it off the rebound. Touchdown, Jax State. So in a game that was 14-10, with you taking points off the board on the 23-yard line by throwing an interception, what you cannot do is allow them then to throw a fluke pass to end the half, defend it poorly, and give up the touchdown. So now your score is 21-10. That is a bad place to be on the road with a sellout crowd, the largest crowd they've ever had there. That is rocking. We start the second half out. Jax State starts off with a punt, so that's good. We counter with that at their 35-yard line by not being able to convert a first down on 4th and 5, I think it is, and we turn over the ball on downs. Jax State comes down and kicks a field goal, 24-10. We drive down. We kick a field goal, 24-13, still in striking distance. The next possession Jax State has, they have to punt. Their offense isn't doing anything because that's not what that offense is built for. Their offense is to eat up clock, and they are doing that. We get the ball back from the punt. We drive it down to the 23-yard line, and again, we throw an interception. 3 more points at least off the board. A terrible decision. The pass was not there. That is something that is forced into coverage, which is a bad read and a bad decision. Not reading it, trying to be a playmaker, trying to play hero ball, and forcing balls into place that they don't need to be. And then that backfires because once they get the interception, Jax State goes down and scores a touchdown, which pretty much puts it out of reach. We make a quarterback change. Dexter Williams comes in. Immediately, we score a touchdown. Jax State gets the ball back. They punt it. We get the ball back. Dexter Williams leads us down the field, rushes in for another touchdown. Okay, so now it's becoming interesting. But because of the clock management, because of the poor decisions, now we're pressing a little bit. We're pressing. It comes down to near the end. Jax State is able to convert a critical 4th down. We have no timeouts. A 2-minute warning or 2-minute timeout has passed us, so the clock's going down. They kick a field goal and pretty much cements this game. However, just for fun, we make some desperate throws down the field. Dexter Williams does and throws another interception. So, all in all, if we look at it, first of all, on the road in a big game, you cannot turn the ball over. Yet alone, you cannot turn the ball over 4 times. There's also a fumble that we recover, but that was a down. So we turn the ball over 4 times. That is inexcusable. That cannot happen. That means that you're trying to be a hero for your team and not taking what the defense is giving you. We talked about in the preview show that this team is real simple. Solid defense, especially their secondary. This is what their head coach did coming up to the ranks was the secondary. We knew their secondary was good. We threw 4 interceptions. So what happened there? Secondly, we knew their rushing offense was the best in the country. Top 4 in the country, best running back in the country by yardage. So Cam Cook, he has 132 yards rushing. He has a scoring touchdown. Creel, who's the quarterback, who is not a great passer of the ball, ran for 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also threw for like another 120, I think, but no touchdowns. But what did they not have? Jax State had 0 turnovers. No turnovers and won by 9. So there's the ball game. It's the turnover battle. It killed you. It prevented you from keeping pace. And it kept your defense on the field, which wore them out and allowed them just to grind it down and eat up the clock. That's what this team does. Power rushing, attack, run all the time, eat the clock up, play defense. That's what they do, and that we fed into their recipe for success. Running backs. Hold on. So Odom was 19 of 31 for 248 and 3 interceptions. He had 51 yards rushing for 1 touchdown. Dexter Williams was 8 for 13 for 114 yards passing, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He also ran the ball for 17 yards. So they're giving up yards through the air. They're giving up yards. But their secondary was smart enough to wait for you to make a mistake and capitalize on that with the 4 interceptions. Our rushing attack, Belcher, 8 rushes for 62 yards. Bennett had 47 yards. The rushing was there. We were running the ball well. We kind of leaned into the pass more than the rush, which I didn't love, but it is what it is. Binyard, again, great game. 5 receptions, 100 yards receiving. Moss, 72 yards receiving. Kopech had 48 yards receiving and a touchdown. He also had, I think, 18 yards on the ground. So the ingredients were there. We just killed ourselves. Just self-inflicted wounds, penalties, turnovers. You cannot do that against anybody, yet alone a capable or competent team. And that's what we did. And that's why we lost the game. And so now we're in a situation to where now we can't make a mistake. And there is hope. And I told you there would be hope. The hope is that we control our own destiny. At the end of the day, we are now tied for second place with Western Kentucky in Conference USA. Western Kentucky and Jax State play each other in 2 weeks. Whoever wins that game will most likely be going to the conference championship. Now, here's the problem, is that now Jax State has a tiebreaker against you. So as difficult as this is to say, it is the truth. You are rooting for Jax State against Western Kentucky. You want Western Kentucky to have 2 losses in Conference USA. You want to have 1 loss and do a rematch against Jax State at Jax State now for the conference championship. That is the best case scenario. So hopefully Jax State can step up and win against Western Kentucky. I believe that game is at Jax State. Actually, I'm sure of that. So there is that. So the opportunity is there. Now, if Jax State were to lose, you're in a bad spot because now you have a tiebreaker. Jax State has over you, and you are technically tied for first place, but because of the tiebreaker, it will be Jax State and Western Kentucky for the conference championship. So you are on the outside looking in, which is disappointing, without question. So, but you kind of did it to yourself. You kind of done it to yourself the last couple of weeks, making games more challenging than they need to be. Additionally, it just looked like you were pressing. And that's the thing we keep talking about with this team is simply that winning is new for this team. It was a cute story. 10 years, they've been around for 10 years. They've made the move to Division I. They're just the little engine that could. That's great. This year, this is a real team. This is a team that is working their tails off for sure. And, it's a team that is competent. But if you're going to be they're more than competent. If you're going to be contending for conference championships, we got to talk about you as a football team and what the expectations are. A football team and a program that is on the rise, because they are absolutely on the rise. But you still got to get used to winning. You still have to learn to win, just like you learn to come up as an underdog and step up in games against teams that were more talented than you. Well, now your talent level is equal. All right? So close these games out. Stop making self-inflicted wounds. Jax State's schedule. They're at FIU next week, which is actually not an easy game, as we know. Then they're at home against Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky next week will be playing, wait for it, Western Kentucky next week is playing at LSU, and then they're on the road at Jax State. I mean, they may lose to LSU, but that doesn't matter because it's not a conference game. So our schedule remaining is home against Missouri State and on the road at Liberty. That Missouri State team is real. That's not going to be an easy game at all. You got to win it. To have any chance, you have all the motivation you could use. To have any chance of playing in a conference championship game, you must beat Missouri State. That's it. I called that game in February. I said that was a win without knowing what Missouri State was all about. I've watched Missouri State several times this year. They're a good team. They're a good team that likes to run the ball. So again, it's almost like you're getting the exact clone of what you went against this week, next week as well. I'll be more than happy to break this down for us on Thursday as we play on Saturdays of next week. I think the game is scheduled for 2 o'clock at the Nest. Be there, support the team. They need your help. Hopefully the road trip does impact Missouri State. Let's get out there for a win. Then Liberty's having a heck of a season. Not doing so great, not living up to expectations. That's a road game. It's not easy to play there. Don't get me wrong. But again, it's a game you will be favored in. You should win that game, especially if the conference championship is on the line, which it will be as you're waiting to get a result from the Jax State and Western Kentucky game. So that's where we are, guys. Disappointed for sure. but at the same time, there's still a possibility. It's not over yet. Control what you can control, get these next 2 wins, and let the chips fall as they may with the Western Kentucky and Jax State game. Heck, if FIU were to beat Jax State next week, then honestly, you're in a great spot. You're still looking for, well, let me think about that. Yeah, that's exactly right. So no matter how about this? If Jax State were to lose next week to FIU, whoever wins that game against Western Kentucky and Jax State is who you're playing in the conference championship if you take care of business. You now control your destiny completely because the team who loses would have 2 losses in the conference. Both you and the winner would have 1 loss in Conference USA. That's your championship game right there. So let's go FIU as well. Let's hold off on that Vice Night stuff, but yeah, let's go FSU, excuse me. Let's go FIU. So looking back in the bigger picture of college football yesterday, we had some elimination games from the playoff for sure. Pitt Notre Dame, not much of a game. It seems like Pitt is focused on the conference championship. They have Georgia Tech and Miami in back-to-back weeks, so that seems to be their focus. The A&M South Carolina game was crazy. Hopefully you saw that. 30-3 South Carolina at halftime. A&M comes back and wins that game 31-30. And Frank Beamer, my goodness. Shane Beamer is fired today, I believe. He got let go from South Carolina. Wisconsin, Indiana rolls. South Florida loses to Navy. They are now eliminated from the college football playoff. Navy played great game, by the way, if you got a chance to watch that. Really good. But yes, South Florida is now eliminated. So you're looking at James Madison, Old Dominion, and Tulane, maybe North Texas as your group of 5 winners. Now, this is the frustrating part. Kennesaw State wins that game yesterday. They're in that conversation, honestly. With the loss there, that's not a possibility now. They're eliminated from competing for the playoffs unless craziness happens over the next 2 weeks. The next game, Bama and Oklahoma. Oklahoma goes on the road to Tuscaloosa and gets a win against Bama, which is shocking. I mean, I don't know if it's shocking. They beat Bama last year, but I mean, most people would say Bama at home, that's a win, and yeah, that's huge. It does not eliminate Bama from the playoffs. They'll still be in the playoffs. It's their first SEC loss. It absolutely helps Oklahoma's chance of making the playoffs. The rest of the games, NC State gets destroyed by Miami. Virginia beats Duke. And finally, Georgia throttles Texas. Texas is eliminated from contention in the college football playoff. They have no business to be there in the first place, in my opinion. I understand they had 2 losses going into yesterday. They have not looked good. They were not a top 12 team, in my opinion. So I'm glad that that's been taken care of. So, yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. It's still pretty exciting to kind of see how it's all going to work out with the playoffs. Some big games coming up, obviously, the next couple weeks. But our big game against Missouri State, 2 o'clock next Saturday. I will break that down for us on Thursday. We got to get a win here. We got to get a win. And we've got to stay in contention for this championship game. So that's it, guys. Sorry for the result. The points were there. The win was there for sure. We just couldn't take advantage of it and made too many mental errors. So that's it. That's all I got for you this week. Like, subscribe, follow. Check out the Etsy store for any products that you may be interested in with the holiday season coming up. All proceeds go back into the show. I really appreciate the support, the follows, the likes, etc. So let's keep it going. Go Owls, Hooty Hoo, and I'll see you later this week. Have a good week, guys. Bye.